I believe the first test of a truly great man is in his humility. So said John Ruskin. So what is humility really? And why is it not only essential, but perhaps the doorway through which all true growth must pass? To understand humility, we need to first clear up what it isn't. It's not grovelling, it's not shame, and it's certainly not telling ourselves or others that we're unworthy. Unfortunately, some of the confusion comes from the well-meaning but misguided echoes of old religious traditions. Many faithful souls have tried to imitate humility by copying the external behaviours of saints, uttering self-critical phrases and taking potshots at their own flaws, mistaking this for virtue. But the saints, when they wept over their imperfections, did so in the full knowledge of the divine's eternal and infinite love. Their humility was born from a blazing vision of something greater, a light so pure it made their own flaws feel unmistakably vivid. Without that vision, attempts to imitate them become hollow. At best, they're empty echoes. At worst, they breed shame instead of a healthy, grounded self-love. You can't shame yourself into holiness, and you can't reverse engineer humility by parroting the words of someone else's revelation. And then there's the ego. It's clever, you know. It often hides in plain sight, even cloaked in spiritual language. In many religious or spiritual circles, there's a quiet pressure to speak modestly, to downplay yourself, to appear humble, because that's what a good spiritual person is meant to do. So we learn the script. We say things like, "I'm still struggling, of course. I'm far from holy." Not always because it's deeply felt, but because it signals that we're trying, that we belong, that we get it. But underneath that, sometimes, is pride. Not the loud, boastful kind, but the quieter kind that's still fixated on how we're being perceived. Pride disguised as humility, still seeking reassurance, not so concerned with being good, but more concerned with appearing good. True humility, though, doesn't perform. It doesn't explain itself or try to appear a certain way. It simply rests in truth, neither inflated nor diminished, and not worried about how it's being seen. So if it's not talking yourself down, then what exactly is humility? At its heart, humility is not an action, it's an understanding. And the understanding is very, very simple. You are no more important than anyone else. It doesn't mean you're less important either. It just means the pedestal and the pit both vanish. There's only equal worth and a shared journey. Whatever words or actions tend to accompany humility will flow naturally from this understanding, but the understanding cannot be acquired by mechanically repeating words or actions. This understanding can be a bitter pill to swallow for spiritual people. In those first beautiful stirrings of spiritual awakening, the ego often creeps back in. It whispers, "You're different now. You see things others don't." And perhaps you do, but the moment that becomes a badge of superiority, you've stepped off the path without even realizing. Maybe your role in this life isn't to enlighten the world. Maybe you won't be a teacher or a healer, or maybe you won't even be noticed at all. Maybe your soul's task is quiet inner transformation, work no one sees but the divine. Remember, Christ was a carpenter. Buddha renounced a royal life. Lao Tzu, by tradition, was a filing clerk. None of them chased glory, yet their humility shook the world. There's a point on every spiritual path, especially during deeper experiences like Kundalini awakening, where further growth simply stops unless the ego is addressed. It's a safety mechanism, because the moment power is mixed with pride, we fall. The light turns back in on itself. The energy collapses. That's why every tradition, East and West, prescribes humility not as a suggestion, but as a safeguard, a prerequisite. Because once humility is in place, truly in place, something beautiful begins to unfold. When you no longer see yourself as above or below others, and yet you still feel held in the embrace of something greater, your vision changes. You begin to see others through that same lens, not as competitors or strangers, but as fellow souls, equally loved, equally worthy. And from that, compassion awakens, quietly, steadily, without effort. As St. Peter wrote, "Love covereth a multitude of sins." Pride closes the heart, humility opens it, and once it's open, love flows in and out with ease. If you're wondering where to begin, start small. Humility isn't something you perform, it's something you practice moment by moment by letting go of the need to be more. Begin by observing your reactions when you feel the need to explain yourself, to defend your image, to win the moment or quietly impress. Just pause, breathe and ask, what am I trying to protect right now? You don't need to shame the impulse, just notice it. That moment of awareness is the beginning. From there, humility grows in the quiet spaces, in choosing to listen rather than speak, in letting someone else shine, in giving without needing to be seen. It grows when you forgive, when you admit you were wrong, when you stop needing to be right. And slowly it becomes less about shrinking your sense of self and more about expanding your heart to include everyone else. Not above, not below, just beside you, walking home together. There's a popular quote that says, "Humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less." It's a lovely idea, but I'd offer this instead. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking no more of yourself than of others. It's not a smallness, it's a spaciousness. The space where you and I, and every soul we meet, are held in the same light. When you stand in humility, you stand in strength. Not above others, not beneath them, but beside them. So walk gently, speak truthfully, and love freely. Not because you are lesser, not because you are greater, but because we are one. Thank you so much for watching. If this spoke to something deep within you, stay with me. There's more to explore and more truth to remember. If you feel this could bless someone else, I'd be so grateful if you shared it with them. And if you'd like to stay connected, you can like the video or subscribe for more. Many blessings to you. Good night for now.